In the early hours of September 26, 1983, a quiet Russian military officer sat alone in a secret command center near Moscow. His name was Stanislav Petrov. His sole mission that night was to watch for incoming American nuclear missiles and alert the Soviet leadership if attack was detected. Suddenly, the computer screens in front of him flashed red. What happened in the next few minutes would determine whether billions of people lived or died. This is the story of how one man saved the world. It was one of the most dangerous moments of the Cold War. Relations between the United States and Soviet Union had reached their worst point in years. Just weeks earlier, the Soviets had shot down a Korean passenger plane they mistook for a spy aircraft, killing 269 innocent people. President Reagan had called the Soviet Union an evil empire. Both sides were on high alert. Lieutenant Colonel Stanislav Petrov was a 44-year-old officer at the Oko Command Center, the Soviet Union's satellite-based early warning system. His job was critical: to evaluate satellite data and determine whether to alert his superiors of an American missile launch. If an attack was detected, Soviet military protocol would begin, potentially leading to a full nuclear response authorized by top leadership. Shortly after midnight on September 26th, the warning system's alarm suddenly went off. The computer screen showed the unthinkable. An American missile was heading toward the Soviet Union. Petrov later recalled, "The siren was very loud. A big red screen appeared with the word launch on it. Military protocol was absolute. Petrov was to immediately inform his superiors of the detected launch. They would then alert the Soviet High Command, who would have just minutes to decide whether to order a nuclear counterstrike." But something seemed wrong to Petrov. "I had a strange feeling," he said years later. First, it was only 5 missiles. In a real attack, the Americans would surely launch hundreds. Second, the satellite system was new and had shown problems before. As the command center around him fell into panic, Petrov had to make a decision. He chose not to pass the alert up the chain of command, instead reporting it as a false alarm. The pressure was extreme. If he was wrong and missiles were truly coming, millions would die because he failed to alert the chain of command. If he reported a real attack and was wrong, he might trigger a sequence that would kill millions. Petrov stayed with his judgment. He decided to wait for ground radar confirmation. If these were real missiles, ground radar would detect them soon. Minutes passed. Nothing appeared on ground radar. Petrov had been right. It was a false alarm. Later, they discovered what happened. Sunlight reflecting off high-altitude clouds had been misinterpreted by the satellite sensors as missile launches. What happened next was complicated. General Yuri Votintsev, commander of the Soviet Air Defense's missile defense units, initially praised Petrov for his correct actions. But the incident revealed serious flaws in the new missile detection system, an embarrassment to Petrov's superiors and the scientists who designed it. Petrov was reprimanded for improper filing of paperwork. He hadn't recorded the incident in the official war diary. "I received no reward," Petrov later explained. "If they had given me a reward, someone would have had to take responsibility for the false alarm." He was reassigned to a less sensitive position and eventually took early retirement. The stress of the incident contributed to Petrov suffering a nervous breakdown. The entire event remained secret for 15 years, until General Votintsev published his memoirs in 1998. If Petrov had forwarded the false alarm as genuine, Soviet leaders would have had just minutes to decide whether to launch a counterattack. Given the extreme tension of the time and limited information available, many experts believe they would have ordered their nuclear weapons launched. The United States, seeing incoming missiles, would have responded with their own. Within hours, hundreds of millions of people would have died. Nuclear winter would have followed, threatening all life on Earth. One man's careful thinking broke the chain that could have led to disaster. Only after Votintsev's revelations in 1998 did the public learn how close we had come to disaster. As recognition slowly came, the San Francisco-based Association of World Citizens awarded Petrov its World Citizen Award in 2004, along with a trophy and $1,000. In 2006, he was honored at the United Nations in New York City. "I was just doing my job," he said simply. Petrov lived a quiet life until his death in 2017, never considering himself a hero. But on that September night in 1983, his judgment and courage led to perhaps the most important decision in human history. In our world of advanced technology and weapons ready to launch in seconds, Petrov reminds us that human wisdom must always guide our most powerful tools. One person, trusting their instincts in a moment of crisis, truly can save the world.